The first scream didn't come from the alien child. It came from the sky. Every satellite above Earth flickered at the exact same second. Every screen in every city, from the neon towers of Tokyo to the dusty roadside cafes of forgotten towns, turned black, and then a single image appeared: a child. Small, fragile, silver-skinned, with eyes like fractured stars, curled on the cold metal floor of a human research hangar, injured, bleeding light instead of blood. And beside that child stood a human man, frozen in horror as the universe itself began to notice what he had done. His name was Aaron Hale, and in less than a minute, he became the most hated man on Earth. But the truth, like most truths that shape civilizations, was far more complicated than the image the galaxy saw. It had been raining the night the alien vessel fell. Not an invasion, not a fleet. Just one small craft tearing across the atmosphere like a wounded comet. Before crashing into the Nevada desert, governments mobilized instantly, jets scrambled, black vehicles rolled. The public saw nothing but a strange streak in the sky and a faint tremor under their feet. By dawn, the wreckage was already surrounded by soldiers, scientists, and men in suits who had spent their entire careers preparing for this exact moment. Aaron was one of them, not a soldier, not a politician, just a xenobiologist who had spent 15 years studying the possibility of life beyond Earth. He had imagined this moment 1,000 times: first contact, careful diplomacy, cautious hope. He had never imagined finding a child. The craft was small, barely larger than a cargo van, its hull shimmering like liquid mercury. There were no visible weapons, no signs of military escort inside. The air hummed with unfamiliar energy, and at the center of the wreckage, half conscious and trembling, lay the alien child. It looked no older than 7 by human standards. Aaron had been the first to approach. The soldiers kept their weapons trained, fingers tight on triggers. But he raised a hand and stepped forward slowly. The child's eyes open wide, luminous, filled not with hatred or aggression, but fear. "Easy," Aaron whispered, though he knew it couldn't understand him. "We're not going to hurt you." And for a moment, it seemed true. The medics moved in carefully. The child's skin emitted pulses of faint blue light where the hull had crushed inward. Its breathing was shallow, irregular. Aaron knelt, scanning with portable instruments, trying to assess anatomy, internal damage, anything that could help. The readings were unlike anything he had ever seen: complex energy signatures woven into biological systems that defied physics, as humanity understood it. Then the child reached out, not violently, not defensively, just a small hand extending toward him. Aaron hesitated only a second before taking it. That was when the surge happened. The contact triggered something, some instinctive biological defense. A blast of energy erupted from the child's body, not as an attack, but as a reflex. It knocked Aaron backward, slammed the soldiers into the hull, shattered equipment. The hangar alarm screamed. Guns fired in panic. One bullet struck the child, and silence followed. The light around its body dimmed instantly. The energy field collapsed. The soldiers froze. Horror dawning too late. Aaron scrambled forward, shouting for them to stop. But the damage had been done. The wound glowed violently, bleeding radiant silver that pooled on the metal floor. "I didn't mean," one of the soldiers stammered. But meaning didn't matter anymore. Within seconds, the sky responded. The clouds above Nevada split apart. Like torn fabric, a shadow fell over the desert so vast it swallowed the horizon. Orbiting telescopes across the world recalibrated in confusion as something immense materialized. Beyond Earth's atmosphere, ships. Not one, not 10, thousands. Sleek, geometric, stretching in silent formation across the curvature of the planet. And then every screen on Earth turned on. The image transmitted was clear. The injured child, the human weapons, the moment of impact. The galaxy was watching. A voice followed, not heard through speakers, but felt inside minds deep. Resonant, layered with restrained fury. "You have harmed our young." Cities went silent. Governments scrambled to establish communication channels. Military commanders prepared for extinction-level retaliation. Religious leaders fell to their knees. The scale of the fleet made resistance laughable. Humanity had barely reached Mars. These beings commanded the stars. Aaron stayed beside the child as chaos erupted around him. He pressed trembling hands over the wound, though he had no idea how to stop the luminous bleeding. The child's eyes fluttered, focusing weakly on him. He realized then the broadcast wasn't just surveillance. It was judgment. Hours passed under the shadow of the fleet. No attacks came, no bombardments, just that presence waiting. The alien voice spoke again. "Our child fled without escort. We tracked the vessel. We saw the crash. We saw your response. Images flashed across the global broadcast, slowed. Footage of the panic, the gunfire, the bullet. We seek understanding before we choose consequence. Understanding. The word felt like a fragile bridge suspended over annihilation. World leaders demanded answers. Who fired? Why? Was it intentional? Was the energy surge perceived as aggression? The soldier who pulled the trigger wept openly during interrogation, insisting he believed the child was attacking. His finger had reacted before his mind caught up. Aaron stepped forward before anyone could stop him. He asked for direct communication against every protocol, against every security warning. The request was transmitted. A column of light descended from the sky, piercing the roof of the hangar without damaging it. Within it formed figures taller than the child, luminous, their presence bending the air itself. The alien parents had arrived. No one fired this time. Aaron felt the weight of their gaze not on humanity, but on him. You held our child's hand. The mother's voice resonated inside his mind. Yes, he answered aloud. Though his voice shook, she was scared. The father's presence flared, a ripple of power that made the metal beneath their feet groan. Your kind fired upon her. It was fear, Aaron said quickly. Not hatred, not cruelty, fear. The child stirred weakly at the sound of their voices. The parents knelt beside her, their light intertwining with hers, stabilizing the wound. The silver bleeding slowed. The mother looked at Aaron again. Did you intend harm? No, he whispered. The truth was raw and naked inside him. They felt it, across Earth. Billions watched the confrontation. Militaries remained on standby, fingers hovering over useless weapons. The alien fleet held position. The father extended a hand not in violence but in projection. Suddenly, everyone saw what the parents saw. Their child escaping the safety of their world. Curious about the distant blue planet, the crash, the confusion, the defensive energy burst. The human panic. To species colliding through misunderstanding. The father's voice echoed globally. In our law, harm to a child demands retribution. The fleet shifted slightly in orbit, enough to send tidal alarms through coastal cities. But the mother continued, intent shapes justice. She turned to Aaron. You reached for her in compassion. I would do it again, he said without hesitation. Even knowing this, the hangar fell utterly silent. The father studied him. And then something unexpected happened. The child's small hand reached weakly toward Aaron once more. He froze. The parents watched carefully. Slowly, deliberately, Aaron took her hand again. This time, when the energy surged, he didn't recoil. He held on. Pain tore through him, searing. Electric, but beneath it he felt something else. Images, emotions. The child's fear. Her curiosity about Earth. Her regret for causing harm unintentionally. She hadn't meant to hurt anyone either. Tears streamed down Aaron's face as the connection deepened. She didn't attack, he gasped. It was reflex, like pulling your hand from fire. The parents already knew, but humanity needed to understand. The broadcast shifted to show the soldier who had fired. He fell to his knees before the alien figures, sobbing apologies. I thought it was killing him. Fear meeting fear. The mother rose slowly. Your species stands at a threshold. You reacted as a young civilization does, instinct before comprehension. The father's gaze swept across the planet through the transmission. We prepared to end you. Gasps echoed across continents, but our child chose differently. The small alien girl tightened her grip on Aaron's hand. The fleet above Earth powered down its visible weapon systems. Relief crashed through humanity like a tidal wave. The parents conferred silently, their lights pulsing in intricate patterns. Finally, the father spoke. There will be consequence. The tension snapped tight again. You will learn, he continued. Your world will open. Your weapons will not fire first again. You will establish protocols of patience before aggression. We will remain in your skies not as conquerors, but as witnesses. It wasn't surrender. It wasn't invasion. It was guardianship. For 1 year, the fleet orbited Earth, not interfering, not ruling, watching. Humanity adapted quickly under that cosmic scrutiny. International coalitions formed unprecedented alliances. Military doctrines were rewritten. First contact academies were established. Fear did not vanish, but it matured. Aaron became the unlikely bridge between species. He spent months communicating with the alien child whose name translated roughly to Liar, learning fragments of her language, teaching her fragments of his. She healed completely, though a faint line of silver remained where the bullet had struck. The soldier who fired volunteered for the new interspecies peace course, dedicating his life to ensuring no such mistake happened again. And when the year ended, the fleet prepared to depart. The alien parents descended one final time. You were given a choice, the father said to humanity through the global broadcast. You chose growth, The mother turned to Aaron. You chose compassion before certainty. That is rare among the stars. Liari hugged him an awkward, glowing embrace that made every camera on Earth capture the moment. Then the fleet vanished into the dark. Earth was alone again, but changed. Years later, historians would call it the Day of Judgment that never came. Children would learn about the near extinction born not of malice, but misunderstanding. Humanity's first lesson in cosmic responsibility. As for Aaron, he kept a small crystal. The aliens have left behind a fragment of Liari's vessel, inert but luminous under starlight. Sometimes, when he held it, he could almost feel that first connection again, fear transformed into understanding. The scream from the sky had nearly ended everything. Instead, it forced a species to grow up, and somewhere among the stars, alien parents told their child the story of the fragile world that almost destroyed itself, and chose not to. Because in the end, the galaxy hadn't been shaken by revenge. It had been changed by mercy.